Hey everyone, I am Robin the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth. And today we are going to talk about Mother's Day email subject line examples. Yes, quite a mouthful. I'm getting really good at picking these topics. Now, you might be wondering, Mother's Day, didn't that just happen? Wasn't that like a week or two ago? Yes, here's the thing. I've been collecting all of the Mother's Day emails in my inbox, thinking I'm going to do a video on that. And here's the other thing. Holidays are a big part of email marketing. So studying Mother's Day email marketing tips will help you when you're doing other holidays, whether it's Father's Day or Christmas or Valentine's Day. So it's a good time to do it. And hey, I'll be ahead next year when people are doing extra searches about Mother's Day email subject lines, right? Anyhow, I'm going to now turn it over to myself on Zoom so you can see my screen.
And we're back talking about Mother's Day email subject line examples. What a mouthful. I'm just really kind of crushing it picking these topics. So hopefully you can see my inbox. As I mentioned in the intro, I've been collecting the Mother's Day emails. I know at some point this is going to come up, so I'll be way ahead of the game for search when someone's searching on this next year. But it's always a good exercise to just go through email subject lines, talk about them, what works, what doesn't work. If you've seen any of my other videos, and I will include a link to this in the description, there's a subject line rater tool that I can share with you. I think it's subjectline.com. You can go there, you can plug in your subject line, it's free, and it kind of rates it for you. It kind of tells you, what's good, what isn't, and then it gives you suggestions for other ones to consider. So a great tool to check out. And let's talk Mother's Day. So this is going to be true for other holidays too, but I wanted to talk about Mother's Day because this is the one where I think it comes up. This and Valentine's Day is where you have to be careful with your marketing. And I think this is something that's come up in the last 20 years, last 10 especially, because of social media, because we're just bombarded by so many messages all the time about an upcoming holiday. And that can be really hard for people depending on where they are in their life. So you have to tread carefully around Mother's Day marketing because you don't know what people are dealing with. You could be dealing with someone who they're grieving over the recent loss of their mom, or they're dealing with a sick mother, or maybe they're estranged from their mother, or they're coming to terms with childhood trauma, or they're dealing with fertility issues, or they're mourning the loss of a child, or a child is sick. Like there's so much that comes to light. So it's actually to the point where some brands will actually allow people to opt out of Mother's Day marketing. So I've seen this happen, and it's happening more and more. Like, a few weeks before Mother's Day or a month before Mother's Day, brands will send out an email saying, hey, we know this is a sensitive time. So if you want to opt out of Mother's Day email marketing, you can opt out. And then once we get past the holiday, we'll resume and you'll still be on the list. And I think that's really smart. It gives people control. It allows you to make sure you're not sending messages that are going to, really turn people off, because if the person is ultimately still like the really, your ideal persona, your ideal customer, you don't want to lose them just because, you're sending Mother's Day marketing messages, which is perfectly fair for you to do as a brand, if that makes sense. And then you just hit them at the wrong time and they go away. And I think it's just really great to give people the option to opt out. I think it's kind. I think it's empathetic, and I think it's good. You maybe you've encountered some of those emails, or if not, you will see some of those emails, and that messaging probably come up more. Even if someone doesn't opt out, I always think it can be smart to be a little bit softer with your Mother's Day messaging. And I've been seeing brands do that successfully, where they will, and I'm going to show you an example here. We'll talk about that in a second, where you acknowledge, like you're acknowledging, hey, for the mothers who are out there, or the mothers who have done a lot of mothering. So you're kind of casting a wider net with your messaging. Not everyone is a mother, but a lot of people have mothering sensibilities. So it's a fine line. And you know what? We live in a society where someone is always offended, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try. You can't please everyone with your marketing or with your writing, and you have to know that. But if you can at least be mindful with your marketing and your writing. That's all anyone can ask. So I'll get off my soapbox now. And like I said, this applies to, I would say, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, you know, even Christmas. There are a lot of people who just don't like the holidays, and you have to be careful. So I'll get off my soapbox, and now we'll look at the good stuff. So I'm actually going to start here at the bottom. And this is a wide variety of stuff. I think most of the stuff here is B2C, which probably makes sense. Yeah, because, you know, people are shopping for, I don't think I've really seen any, I'm sitting here thinking any B2B businesses do a Mother's Day themed. I mean, this is such a consumer holiday. So these are all B2C emails, which is fine. And again, the thing with subject lines, you want to try to keep it under 60 characters. Typically, that's about 8 to 9 words. If you use emojis, which I recommend that you do, studies do tend to show that using it earlier in the subject line rather than the end like this is more effective. But if you put it through a subject line checker or you do A/B testing, you can see what works for your audience. So let's get to it. So this is Merriweather, which is kind of like a shop that does lots of funny gifts. It's an online shop that does like some really kind of wild and funny gifts. So I often just capture I'm on their email list, and I just, you know, they can have some really clever and interesting subject lines. And you're going to see that I have another one in here, and there's a reason why I have both, but you know, 5 stages of motherhood. And then it has like the laughing, crying emoji. The mother of all days is just around the corner. That's the preview line. So, you know, short, sweet. It's very typical of what I expect from this brand. Like, it's a very irreverent brand. Notice that there's no capitalization. It seems like very casual, almost like someone just did it really fast. Maybe that is the case, but I have a feeling that it's also very intentional. So if you click open, you'll see the type of gifts that this does. I like the tagline, disappointing our parents since 1976. And that just gives you a flavor for the brand. And they're very much just about Mother's Day gift ideas. And, you know, socks, don't make mommy be a bitch. I mean, you know, funny, haha gifts for people who are into that. And this is just very, very visual email. The gifts themselves do the talking, and then people can click through if, you know, there's some naughty language here. So, but yeah, there you go. So I think that works for the brand. I think it's effective for the brand. I think it's on brand. I think for people who follow this brand and love this stuff and love this type of humor, it probably is very effective. You know what? Let's put it through subject lines. I'm curious as to how that's going to go with the emoji back there. If anyone saw my other video, we're going to go here and we're going to go to subjectline.com. And you just plug it in here. And so now you can see it probably better on my screen. And now we can evaluate it. See, it's evaluating. Let's see what it says. I have a feeling it's going to ping because that emoji's at the end. So here, this is interesting. Again, don't get caught up with this number because the real details are down here. So notice it got pinged because of no capitalization. Contains, what word is beyond? Oh, motherhood. So it's capturing motherhood because that's more than 8 characters. Usually you want to use short, punchy words. And this is a good example where I think, you know, the word motherhood for the purpose of this email makes sense. So this is where, you know, you have to always look at results from these sort of tools and make a decision for yourself. Contains an emoji in the second half. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. The studies are showing that putting this emoji like at the beginning might be a little more effective, but it's quite possible that they tested this and this works for their list. Who knows? Maybe they didn't test it. And then you get this, and then it makes some suggestions. This is like long, so I'm surprised it suggests that, but it's kind of funny. 5 stages of motherhood: 1, exhaustion; 2, anxiety; frustration; 4, desperation; acceptance. So anyhow, we can go back to my inbox now. All right. So Chris Bojalian is an author. He's a great author. If you are looking for a good read, he has a ton of books. So I thought this was good. I don't get a ton of emails from him. He emails when he has usually a book or something in paperback. But I thought this was smart. Pro tip: Mother's Day is May 14th, and books make great gifts. So a smart thing to send to his list. I don't know if he does this every year. This is the first year I remember getting one, but that's could just be because I was being more aware about it since I was putting together this video. This is a long email subject line. I think it's probably beyond, you can actually see and do the count. Let's not guess. I have a feeling it's beyond 60 characters though. So here's the other tool that I use for this. It's called letter count. Put it in here. Let's see what it is. That's definitely gonna be more than 60. Yeah. Oh no, he's right at 50. I thought it was gonna be more. So he's right on the cusp. You wouldn't want to go any longer than that. And the reason why is for exactly what it's just looking at in the inbox. It's a long email. You're asking people to read a lot of words. And I know that's a sad commentary. That's not that long in reality, in the grand scheme of things. And he's a writer. So, we can have an interesting philosophical debate about that. But again, I think this works well. If I'm getting an email from my favorite writer and it's like, oh yeah, he does have a new book coming out because his book is in paperback is what he's promoting here. And it's just coming out on, the day that he sent that email. So that was smart. That lined up really, really well. And if I were, buying a book for the, moms or readers in my life, that would be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And now I'm going to pick up a copy for myself. So I think that is smart and effective. Now, the reason why I'm doing Merriweather again is because they sent this here. Notice how the spelling changes in their from line. They do that a lot. I think that helps to draw attention to it. Last call for mom. So there's a little bit of urgency. We got that emoji at the end. Again, no capitalization. What I thought was interesting about this email is just look how simple it is. It is just a text-based email with a link. All right. And it's a link to the ultimate gift guide. So like they are basically saying this is the last time you can do it if you want to order now to get your gift in time for Mother's Day, which would be like just a few days away when this was sent. So then you just click through to this and it brings to the landing page where they have all the gifts just lined up. Basically the same stuff that we saw in that other email, but just lined up like this. So, if you're doing a lot of consumer B2C emails, the cadence is a lot. You send emails much more than you would with B2B. So it's not unusual, especially when there's a holiday coming up, that this email is sent on April 27th. This one was sent a few days later on May 4th with a last call. So anyhow, Mass Wildlife. So I thought this was clever of them. Here's a government agency taking advantage of an upcoming holiday to promote something. And I thought it made sense. Plan a fishing trip for mom. I thought that was clever. Hey, why not? You never know if someone signed up for this email list, that might be the perfect gift. So I thought that worked. And then their newsletter is pretty simple, but it works. It works for what it needs to do. Let's see how long this subject line is. I have a feeling that might be right up against the 60 character limit too, but let's test it. Don't assume, test always. Yeah, that's gonna be more. Yeah, so we're at 71 there. So again, and here's the thing. You can obviously send something if you want to be longer than 60 characters. That's your call, but just know that studies show that a subject line like that, if you're going to test it, if you're going to get dinged for that, because usually 60 characters or less, let's evaluate it now. Okay, so you can see even right here, usually this gives like 100 to almost everything. It's giving you a 94 out of 100, and I can guarantee you why is because the length is over. This is actually saying over 50 characters usually. So between 50 and 60 characters is what you want. I've seen both, but this is actually testing for over 50. So again, this is a great little tool to run things through just to check and to get some other ideas. So Grammar Girl, this is another example of, I think, just Grammar Girl it's exactly what it sounds like. She is very well known. I'm going to butcher her name, so I'm not even, I'm not going to even try her name. I always get it wrong. Anyway, popular podcast, tons of followers. And I think this is really clever. She often ties in, upcoming holidays or things that are trending in the news with the topic that she's talking about. So this is a capitalization of mom that she's talking about and making her focus for this particular article, and when to capitalize. So I think that works well. She's tying into a holiday, so I think that makes sense. She's not selling anything specifically for Mother's Day per se, but that works. And I think it catches your attention, catches my attention. Again, I'm the right audience for this as a writer, so that makes sense. Groupon. So Groupon, of course, you're probably familiar with Groupon. They often have very clever, interesting subject lines, whether you buy from Groupon or not. That's one that I probably recommend subscribing to because they send out a ton of emails, and you'll just get good at looking at those subject lines. And if you need an exercise and you're looking to practice your writing chops, just take a bunch of Groupon email subject lines and body copy and rewrite and figure out how you do it better. So not a joke. We got a lot going on here. We got not a joke. We got a little subtle humor with the word not. We have an emoji here. We've got, gift ideas. We got emoji at the end. It's all about massages. It's a little confusing. I actually thought this subject line was a little confusing. I think they do a better job, but so let's actually look at inside here. I'm not even sure what this is. This little emoji. Is that an hourglass? I don't even know. And that's something you have to think about with your emojis, is like it helps when it's clear, like you don't have to squint and be like, what is that? This is just all about massages pretty much. So again, probably works for what, I could see someone getting this email going, I haven't gotten anything from my mother for Mother's Day, and be like, ooh, I'm going to do one of these. Boom. So probably very effective, even though I think that subject line is kind of garbled and confusing. So now the final one we're going to look at is Misha and Pup, which is a boutique online shop. They actually have a storefront now too, and they sell really, really high quality, high end knits that are hand knitted in Peru. Very, very, very avid fans. The fan base for this company is extremely. The people are very into this brand. They have a very strong fan base. So this is an example of a company that is very careful about the Mother's Day messaging. So as you can see here, they don't even mention Mother's Day. They very famously do this sort of special store-wide sale every Mother's Day. So their fans who follow expect this, like they know it's coming. So they don't even really have to do it. They know it's like kind of like geared around Mother's Day, and they do it site-wide. So let's go inside. So I think the messaging is what I really want to show you. So our gift to you, 20% off site-wide, to all a gift. In celebration of those mothering in all shapes and forms, or even as an act of self-love, a gift. So that's a great example of that softer approach to Mother's Day marketing that I was talking about, where you're not just going, Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Like, this is just taking a very subtle approach, acknowledging the day, acknowledging people who are mothers, but also casting a wider net to people who, mother in all shapes and forms. Or hey, maybe you're not a mother, maybe you're dealing with stuff, whatever, and you just want some self-love, and you're going to buy yourself, a gorgeous knit for yourself or for your child or whatever it is. So I think that that's extremely effective and thoughtful and important for their fan base, their customer base especially. So there you have it. I just wanted to kind of cover, some Mother's Day email subject line examples. Be sure to check out the description below, because I will include links to that subject line checker and the letter count, just so you have access to them. And be sure to check out my blog post, because I will recap some of the issues that I talked about here, include some other helpful links. But there you go. And now I'm going to turn it back to myself and Stewie.
And there you have it, Mother's Day email subject line examples. I think I got it out. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That helps us out. If you didn't, just move along. I am Robin the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth. And we will see you next time. Bye.